Feels so long. YouTube wouldn't let me do the horizontal landscape. Will it let me do it while I'm live? Yes, rotate, please. No, it wants me to rotate back. Oh, I don't know what YouTube's doing today. Anyway, it looks like we're on the portrait. Welcome. This is our personal healing event, and I've got to get used to looking at the camera way up here. This is our personal healing event for some of my patrons for October 2022. So I have 6 people on my list today I'll be connecting with personally, and I've popped your names on little pieces of paper in my Dragon Power cup. So I'm going to pull your names out as we go through this next hour. So I trust you enjoy. So this is personal healing time only for the people who are at this, who pledge at this level on my Patreon. So if you are here and you're not on the list, then I'm sure you'll still receive something helpful from this connection today. So please take on board what feels right. Just let the rest go. If it doesn't resonate, it's okay. And if you're waiting for your turn, also just pay attention to what's coming up. Like what I like to do is I like to listen, not only with my ears, but listen with my heart, listen with my body, and see what is speaking personally to me, even if I'm not directly connecting with you. So it's no accident that you're here. I trust you enjoy the time that we spend here together today. So, yes, welcome everybody. So the plan is I'll pull a name out of the cup, and then I'll pull a healing energy card for you. Then I'll tune in. I'll spend around 10 minutes connecting with your energy specifically and share what I'm picking up. And then I'll pull a card to finish that connection off. Then I'll move to the next person. So I've got 6 people on the list. So I'm going to be here for a good hour today. So I want to get started straight away. Let's get started. So the first person on the list today is Susan Sonsteng. So Susan, welcome. Let's find a card for you. Good morning, Jane. Yes, Corey had a great day yesterday. Thank you. It's funny, actually. We played some board games that he chose. And shock horror, I won all the games that we played yesterday. And especially one that I've never ever won, so it was my lucky day. But Corey enjoyed himself. We had a good day yesterday. Thanks, Jane. Okay, Susan, nice big breath. Your best card to start this connection. Whew, got some energy moving in the throat here for you, Susan. Excuse me. Okay, nice big breath. And we have this card here for you. Yeah, this is actually strong energy around this morning, so I'm not really surprised this card's come up. It's card 18, Rebirth. It's in the Rise category, and down here it says, let go of old wounds that hold you back, shed that old skin and release. To release is to rebirth. Strip back the expired. Throat healing and truth. Okay, rebirth. So there's this stripping away feeling here, Susan, and what I can feel are layers and layers and layers stripping away from you. It's starting in very fine detail, if you like, or a very fine way, quite fine and delicate here in your throat. And it's like peeling back something. It's like peeling back thin layers of bark from your throat here, or thin layers, it's bark-like energy. So there must be a fruit or something, or a nut or something that you peel back and it's very woody kind of texture. That's how it feels here. But I can't pick the fruit or the nut, but there's something that feels like it just peels back. Is it like maybe it's like a coconut shell. Yeah, it's like the outside of the coconut. So I think you've got the big part of the coconut that's sort of chipped away, and then you've got that sort of fibrous part of the coconut, and that's what this feels like here, like a peeling back of like a coconut kind of energy here around your throat. And I feel it really stripping back in layers. It's just like very thin, like almost paper layers, just very fibrous, been peeled back here at your throat, like we're peeling back the skin of a banana, and peeling back here and really exposing your throat, your truth, who you are, and also if there's any communication issues that you're dealing with at this time, really being peeled back and revealing the inside fruits or the inside parts that have been maybe guarded or protected or tried to keep fresh somehow, or to keep maintaining the story or something like this. But I feel like it's really important stripping this back, and I feel like almost like little layers of your neck here have been peeled back, and we can get further into your throat than we could before. So peeling that back, and now just moving all the peel, so the stuff that's been peeled away, just sort of scooping that off your collarbone and dropping it down to the earth where it returns back to love. And this is all feeling very tender through here at the moment, very tender and quite sore, actually, quite sore and tender all through here, very raw, like it's been sunburned or something. So this is really strong through here. And now stripping back on the outer level. So I feel from your crown now, like the crown is the top of the fruit, like if it was a banana, if your body was a banana or a coconut, and we're peeling back. So it's kind of a mix, but it feels like banana skin, but it also feels like the texture of coconut. So the fibrous fibrous energy again. So just peeling this back, like we're really peeling you down here from your crown, right from that center point, and peeling all the way around, all the way down to your shoulders at the moment, like you're now just sort of, you've slipped off the top here and it's sitting here and exposing your shoulders. They feel quite bare. And so as this is stripped off, there's energy that's coming in, a beautiful, it looks like to me, like a lime or bright green that's coming around in a spiral formation, and it's coming down to your crown and wrapping around your head, wrapping around your throat quite tightly, like we've got a really tight, firmly bound scarf here around your neck here, and it's just coming around the tops of your shoulders and soaking in. It reminds me of a boa, like the texture, the very feathery, very light, and quite dense here, this energy that's wrapping around this top part of your body. And it's soaking into your body now, so into these areas where it's covered, being soaked in with this beautiful green energy. It's soaking into your mind, into your face, into your third eye, also into your throat, and there's energy moving here again. It feels like some issues or energies moving to here deep down in your throat, and just stripping back down further now. So stripping back, the energy's becoming less fibrous and a bit more barky, even though it still feels woody. It's not as I'm not even sure of the right word. It feels a bit more like, it feels a bit more contained, a bit more like strips of bark rather than pieces of fibre that we're pulling down. So the bark is now pulling off from above your shoulders down to your hips and stripping back here in really quite large amounts. So really stripping back really big chunks of bark, really stripping things back, stripping back the layers that you've been hiding behind, or the layers that have been covering up the truth about what's going on for you or how you really feel. The stuff that's holding you back, weighing you down, is what we're stripping back. And it really feels quite painful or sensitive, stripping off this one that goes down your spine. So from the back here of just sort of below, at the back of your neck, stripping that one that comes down your spine, down to your lower back, is actually really quite painful. It's a bit like, stripping off a strip of wax or stripping off a Band-Aid. It feels quite ouchy as that strips back. The rest feels fine. And there's itchy energy coming up in the arm here. So there's arm stuff shifting. So this is very much about giving and receiving, a balance there, a balance between what you're giving out and what you're allowing yourself to receive. Okay, so just Okay, so we're just letting that sit now while we now bring that green energy like the boa. Oh, it's still sort of shifting energy here in your throat, but the throat energy also feels now like it's including the heart. So we're going down deep into the heart. So the deep parts of the throat that almost touch the heart are being shifted and stirred up here as this green energy moves down from the upper parts of your shoulders down and around your torso, around your arms as well, and really soaking up especially into this left arm and this left hand. So this is very much about it really feels to me like the balance of giving and receiving. So make sure you're not giving too much, and you're not allowing yourself or giving yourself equal balance equal permission to receive, so that you do have that balance. So the green energy just continues down through around your torso and is really kind of quite vibrant as it comes down, or as it sort of layers up as it's coming down your body in this spiral formation. But it's almost like the whole part of your spine here is highlighted or illuminated somehow, like there's a light glowing from your spine that is really quite vibrant as this light energy wraps itself around your body. So your spine is being activated here, and just allowing this energy now to move down to the top part of that part that we've been peeling back, where it sits here just over your hips and waits for the next round. So now it's time to strip back the layers that have been covering from your hips down to your feet. And these feel very fine, like little pieces of wool or rope that are kind of layered up to your hips. So pulling these off like spaghetti, really stripping them back. There's a lot of them. So stripping them back, it feels like fingers sort of at a time, and really stripping them back all the way to the soles of your feet. And it just sort of lies down on the ground. So I'm just moving around your body, pulling all this layer of whatever this represents off, laying it down on the ground, almost like you're standing now in this sort of spaghetti, ropey mat that's extending from your feet. It actually looks really pretty, very quite artistic, as it's sort of laying there like you're on this sacred mat, and then just cutting it around the shape of your feet so that it's not joined to you anymore. So cutting that away. And now I feel like you're quite exposed here from the hips down to your feet. And this energy, this green energy now, instead of being like a single stream that's wrapping around in a spiral formation, it just drops down like you've just put on a skirt, and you have the skirt all hitched up, and then it drops down like it's hooped or weighted somehow, and it drops straight down from your hips, the top of your hips, down over your legs, down to your feet, and right down to the ground. So dropping down this energy. It's still very bright, limey green, and allowing this to soak into your legs and into your body to help bring you balance and healing and change and growth as well. Whew, okay, so it feels a lot easier to breathe now, and I feel like a lot of energy has been shifted, stuff that you've been storing that's been, it feels like stuff that you've been storing on the inside that then moved to the outside somehow. So it feels very interesting. So that's shifting now. Let's see which card here we need to add for you, Susan. And the best card to add here is this. I am expanding, card 43, and it's in the rise category as well. And down here it says, your light is expanding, not your lower ego demanding. So what that feels to me like is like the light or the stuff that has been shifted, what has been revealed now in its place is growing and expanding, and that heavy energy that you've been wearing, like an armor or the stuff from the inside that was bottled up that moved to the outside of your body, that's shifting. So that is not expanding, basically. It says, release who you are for who you could become, opportunities, and your higher self. So, yeah, this feels like an expansion of your light here. So I trust this resonates with you, Susan. Thank you so much. Thanks for your support, and namaste. Okay, let's move to the next person. I think I've got now, my cat hair went from my nose to into my eye. Okay, next person on the list is this person. It's you, Jayne. Are you still here? Oops. Okay, Jayne, you're next. I'll just pop these cards back in. Okay, nice big breath. And the best card that you need. So the energy's sort of quietening down, and there's this feeling here of just finding calm, just finding peace, finding acceptance, finding comfort and reassurance that everything's going to be okay. And actually, as I feel that and say that, oh, excellent. As I feel and say that, I do feel an energy moving, an emotion moving in your throat here, that knowing that everything's going to be okay feels like it stirs up quite a bit of emotion here. Card 41, breaking free. We've got the rise category again. And down here it says to stretch past your limitations and into new territory, the unknown, break through, move outside the box, push yourself out of your comfort zone. So there is a feeling here of you breaking free, Jayne, like breaking free from the cocoon that has actually, to me, it feels like it's been housing you, but it also feels like it's been limiting you. And it feels like it had its place at the time, but it feels like the time has come that you are ready to burst out of the cocoon. Again, this is stirring more energy in the throat, which feels like a lot of emotion. It feels like quite a wash of emotion here. So it feels like, to me, like you have a big lake here in your throat, like a lake. And this lake is being whipped up somehow. So it feels like the winds are picking up, the rains are here, and things are kind of stirring up on the external, you know, like the weather kind of feeling, are really stirring up that peaceful lake that you've tried to create and maintain in your throat, which especially feels like emotion, which is interesting because usually emotions are stored in the belly. And I'm not saying you don't store any down there, because it's likely you do. But what I'm feeling is this is very strong emotional energy that has moved from your sacral chakra, your emotional center. It's moved to your throat, because now it's like almost make or break, but it's very tied in or linked in with expression, and a really strong feeling here of needing to communicate really clearly how you feel. And you might find sometimes in situations that you have like this big lump in your throat, like this big lake of emotion that's sort of stirring and whipping up here in your throat. And you might find this big gulp sometimes that you're taking lately, which is that sort of emotion. It's almost like the lake now has had now looks to me like it's got a swell. And the swell are like the waves breaking on the shore, the waves breaking on the land. So the waves breaking in your relationships, the waves breaking in your living situation as well. And the waves breaking feel like they're actually breaking on the shore and breaking down parts of your life that feel like they've actually reached a point of limitation, where actually they're not. I find limitation energy is basically an energy that kind of stops us from growing or stops us from evolving somehow or expanding. So this limitation is like a stopper that's been put on your growth in some way, is the feeling. So let's now, I've just described what I'm feeling. Let's now see what we need to do to shift this. What I would like to do is actually just bring out some of this sort of wavy, windy, rainy, very weather orientated at the moment, this lake and all this emotional energy that's being stirred up and whipped up at the moment, because it feels big, like this feels quite dominant as it sits here very heavy in your throat. So we're going to work with the weather. So this weather energy that's pulling like wind that's pushing in from both sides around this lake in your throat is pushing in, and then it's creating swell. So okay, we'll let it do that. Let's let it push in from the sides, create the swell, and let the waves be big. Let the waves generate here in this lake of emotion here in your throat. This lake doesn't even really cut it, because lake feels too peaceful for this energy. I feel the lake underneath, but at the top it's not as peaceful as a lake. It feels more like, you know, a wild swell at the beach kind of thing. So lake probably doesn't really cut it, but it's okay. So letting the wind come in, whip up this water from the sides, this emotion, and let the waves build and let the waves accumulate. Let the swell grow instead of trying to subdue the swell. Let's let it come in. Let's let it stir up. Let's let it shift things. So as the wind and the swell comes in from the side, it picks up the water, the emotion, and almost creates a tsunami. And it feels this is like this pent up, really built up, bottled up emotion that has moved now from your belly to your throat. And it could almost feel, you know, it might even include, you know, anger, frustration, agitation that may come out as an explosion. You know, when we're feeling this kind of stirred up and we have this sort of energy moving in the throat, it's probably just a ticking time bomb waiting to happen in regards to, you know, some aggressive splurt that we have, or some aggressive outlet or aggressive expression that comes through. So allowing a swell to grow and allowing it to sort of create a tsunami on all fronts. So if it was a lake, it's coming in on all directions. A tsunami that's created in this circle of the lake. And the tsunami is actually picking up the water, the excess emotion, and it's dispersing it now out from you. So basically it's letting all that bottled up emotion that you've been bottling up for a long time, it's letting that go. It's letting it build its energy and its force and release. And it washes out over all the landscape around you in a very cleansing way. So yes, it may be destructing some structures that you've got going in your life that are difficult to let go of at this time, but it's also cleansing. It's cleansing your environment around you. So it washes out into all areas of your life, all your relationships and all aspects that you've got going on, and it's carrying that water that has been accumulated out. And as it moves further away from you, it settles and it tames and it just trickles away and trickles down. And when it's finished moving out, it just settles and sinks down into the earth where it returns back to love. And my goodness, what a relief that is, because it feels like I can feel all that going. I can feel also the burdens that you've been carrying that have been tied in with this. I can feel those at ease now. I can feel all the excess water that has been overflowing and accumulating here in your throat, that has now passed. And now I can safely say, I can confidently say that it now feels like a lake again. Your inner calm that you like to hold, that inner peaceful place that you like to find within yourself, that has been returned. So very much an emotional release for you, Jayne. Let's just grab a card here and see what this wants to add. And really stretching out, branching out, but using that emotion actually to wash away parts of your life that require that cleansing. So the best card to add here for you, Jayne, is this here. Oh, well, this is good. It's card 54, manifest, in the action category. Down here it says you'll bring your ideas and projects into reality. So this is about what you've got going on, what you've been hoping for, dreams, ideas. This is about bringing them into reality now. It says what you are creating or what you're intending is manifesting. Take action. Birth the new in physical form. This is physical changes, physical things that are new coming in your physical life. Transformation and abundance. So it takes me back to what I said to you very early on, which is a reassurance that everything's going to be okay. And as I say that now, I don't feel that twang of emotion, that maybe even disbelief somehow. Like I don't know if I really believe that because everything's not okay. But it feels with this card that coming up and what we've just shifted, that this is an actual, like a double reinforcement that everything is going to be okay, Jayne. And maybe you can reassure yourself and remind yourself too when things don't seem like they are okay. So I trust this resonates and supports you. Thank you so much Thank you for allowing me to connect with you and for your support. Thanks, Jayne. Namaste. Okay. Thanks, Jayne. All right, next person. The cat's coming into for this one. So this is for Carol White. Carol, please take a nice big breath and let's see what comes up for you. Okay. Oh, there's a lot of tingling happening in the face. The cat is purring and wants me to pick her up. Okay. Best card for you, Carol, right now is this. Oh, it's Heart Healing, card 29. It's also in the Rise category, just certainly the hot category for the moment. It says, wrap yourself in love. Oh, this feels beautiful, especially coming off the back of yours, Jayne, so intense. Wrap yourself in love. Heal your heart. Let your walls down. It is safe for you to open your heart. To know your heart is to know yourself. And softness. But even though it's softness, there is a strength about this card, this illustration. This feels strong and clear. Like everything is clear. Nothing's muddied. Nothing's muddled. Everything is in line. Everything is in order somehow. Everything has its place. So this feels important for you, Carol. And I feel like this really stacking up in your heart, like your heart is a bookshelf and we're lining all the books up, or we're lining all the things up in order, and bringing order back to your heart. Maybe things had been a bit, it almost feels to me, and maybe because we've had so much rain, I'm dealing with a lot of watery things at the moment, so it's coming through, but it almost feels to me like the bookcase had been flooded or wet somehow, and the books had become soaked. You know how when paper gets soaked with water, it becomes a bit fragile, it kind of gets a bit soft and you can kind of rip at it easier. So it feels like things had been a bit flooded or a bit sort of washed out here in the heart. And now I feel that things are drying out. So that makes me feel like you've probably been through an emotional time, Carol, and now coming through maybe these last few days, at the very least, maybe up to a week ago, that you're getting stronger and feeling the water's drying out, which means that you're getting a bit clearer mentally, which is that air element that's drying up that water and drying up the papers in your heart. And now it's about getting all these books into order. Now they've been dried out. So the books, I feel, represent knowledge of your heart, wisdom that you've gained through your life experience. And as you've journeyed through the ups and downs of life, the decisions you've made and not made, the choices that you've made that have really got you to this position and taught you a lot about yourself, are very prominent at this time. And I feel lots of like a velvety green and velvety dark red books. So the green is about, well, it feels very growth based. It feels like the ferns and the rainforest kind of coloured green. So it feels very growth orientated. And that deep reddy velvet feels like a grounding, sort of like an earthy, but very physical energy as well. So the changes and the growth that you want to see in your physical life, I feel like this is what this is really highlighting at this time. So these books are all ordered here in your heart. So I feel like I'm you at this time, and I feel like these books are being stored in your heart and coming in. So the back of the book, where the book is bound, the spine of the book is on the outside and pushing these books in to the bookshelf of your heart. And as these are coming into position, like they're locking in, like cogs on a wheel locking into the cog or locking into position, like the door lining up so you can close the door. It feels like there's a lining up feeling here. And there's got to be about 6 books here in this top row, which I'm really focused on at the moment. So I've got green, the reddy velvet or reddy brown velvet, and then green here. All now tucked into place. Here representing your wisdom, your knowledge that you've gained, but also the growth and the next phase of your journey that you're stepping into. Now the second shelf here, okay, the second shelf doesn't feel as clear as the top shelf. So the second shelf feels like it's got bits of books kind of splayed out everywhere. Some are laying down, some are upright, some are the other way around. It feels a bit chaotic and a bit messy here. So I actually want to pull all these books out because it feels like we don't even need all of these to keep moving forward. It feels like some of these are clutter, some of these are chaos, some of these are mess that is not needed to be carried forward into where you're going. So pulled out of here feels like a good, easily a dozen bits and fragments of books, some little stapled together papers, all different types and sizes. And I feel like we need to somehow match things up. I don't know why, but I want to grab, there's two sort of a dull orange colour, very velvety sort of covered books that feel the same size and very equal to the ones at the top. And we put those two in straight here in the middle of this lower shelf with the spine facing out. So tucking those in, this is most likely creativity, so your creative thinking, but also emotions and your emotional connection with what you want or where you're going or the knowledge that you have obtained throughout your life experience. Now on either side of that, I reach straight down and grab two white books. They are like an off-white, like an antique-y off-white, same size, same texture, velvety. Pick both up, one in each hand, and put them on either side of these orange books. Okay, and then down we get the brown books. So these are definitely brown. They're not red brown, they are brown. So these are very grounding, very practical books. In fact, these are your practical handbooks. These are the practical things, the morals, the values that you live by. And I feel they're very grounded and practical. So picking those up, putting those one on either side of the white book. Then there's a spot here for one more on either side. And I feel like we need to keep these empty somehow, like leave space here for something new to come in. So I feel like something new wants to come in. So that means there's a good 8 or so books here that we need to just get rid of. So I just push them aside like we're pushing them off the table in front of you, and they drop down to the earth where they return back to love. And now there is space in your heart for you to move into this next phase, this new beginning, and to start creating some new experiences and new knowledge for yourself. Yes, you've got a lot that you carry with you into the new beginning, but there is also stuff for you to learn as you step into that new beginning as well. So lots of heart organising, it feels like for you, Carol, and releasing as well, but getting things organised in your heart. Let's grab a card to see what this wants to add. So the best card to finish this off for you, Carol, is this card here. It's this. Okay, this is interesting. Card 61. Notice the details. It's in the depth category here. And down here it says, make sure that you comprehend and understand what is being communicated. So that's interesting. So make sure you know what's at play or what's happening here. Make sure you understand the consequences of what's being expressed. Make sure you, because we've connected so much with knowledge here at your heart, and this is coming up in this card about comprehending and understanding what is being communicated. I feel like this is really emphasized. So make sure that you ask the questions to make sure you have all the information that you need moving forward. It says, don't fill in the blanks or read between the lines. Pay attention to what is there and what is being presented. Think and read. Now that's interesting too, with all these books that have come up. So there might be something for you to read. So trust in what you're being drawn to with that as well. So notice the details. Thanks so much, Carol. Thanks for your support, and I trust this resonates. Namaste. Okay, let's see who's next. I've got 3 more people on my list today. And the next person is this person. Who is it? This one. It's Andrea Stuart. Andrea, I'm not sure if you're here live, but welcome and hello. And please take a nice big breath. Whew, okay. Okay, so we've got a different energy coming in now. So there's a, how do we explain this? It's like a pull down feeling across the back. So, okay, so it's a bit like if we had a door, you know, like let's imagine we've got a door that comes down, like it's on a roller door somehow, but it feels wooden. But anyway, it comes down, like it comes down on a roller. That's what it feels like happening here at the back. Like you've got a roller door energy, like a door kind of feeling, quite heavy, that's coming down the back of your body, like almost shearing down the back, but especially across the shoulders and the upper back, and maybe even just a little bit down into your lower back. But that's what it feels like. Something's shutting up here. Something's coming over your back. Okay, let's see which card wants to add here because the energy's coming quite strongly. We have this card 86, regeneration, another rise. This is quite incredible. Regeneration. It says upgrade, new, aftermath, recovery, repair, rebuild. The new rising from the rubble, life continues, growing again, a process, and look ahead. Okay, regeneration, like after a fire or after a period of destruction or devastation, that life regenerates, life continues. And this is important. And it feels to me, okay, so I'm back here at this shutter, this door that's sort of closing down, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like it's just there. Like I'm keep getting continually the feeling of it coming down, of it coming down, of it coming down. So things are coming down, or there's this heavy energy coming down over your back, over your shoulders. It reminds me a bit actually of like being at the bank these days, and they have the teller kind of security screens that come down. Even though it feels more wooden in texture, that's what it reminds me of. So it's coming down to protect what's inside, to protect you from being hurt. But it's interesting because it's over the back, and the back of the body tends to represent the past. I'm feeling a strong energy here over the back of your shoulders, at the back side of your shoulders. That's usually connected with burdens. And we can also say that this roller down, this energy that's coming down, also connects with the back of the heart, the back of the solar plexus, which is your power center, so a loss of power or feeling powerless, and also down to the back of your lower back, or to your lower back, which is the back of your sacral chakras. That's your emotional center. So old emotional stuff here that's connected too. And this feeling, I don't feel it coming up, but I just keep feeling it coming down. So is it coming down and then going back up? Or are we getting layers and layers and layers of it coming down? Like just down, 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 like layers of blinds on a window or something that just keeps coming down, because there's no up feeling. It's all just down over the top. So now I'm saying this out loud because I'm just trying to figure out and feel and sense what's going on here and what this is trying to show me or trying to reveal. So it does feel like it's coming down in layers, so thin layers now, like layers of grain in a piece of wood. So it's come down, 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 down. And what I'm seeing now, I feel, is over a period of time where like a guard come down, a protection sort of come down, but this sort of guarded feeling here over the back. And now it feels quite thick. So it's showing me the coming down because it's showing the layers and the various times this has come down over your life period, Andrea. I feel like this happened or started a long time ago and it's been accumulating. Can you hear my voice changing? So there's energy too shifting here in your throat. And there's something about this energy that keeps coming down that's kind of guarding and covering up this back part of your body. There's a feeling in here too that it's somehow created or contributed to a suppression in regards to who you are, an almost silencing of your voice and a silencing of self. And not just even your voice, it feels like a silencing of your presence somehow. almost like your presence isn't good enough to even be in this space. Like that's just the outside feeling that I feel here. So then this wall comes down, and then the wall comes down, and doesn't feel like they come down like a bunch of them in this short period of time. I just feel like I'm almost fast forwarding through, or rewinding, but in fast speed through your past when this started. And it feel like it started, I'm getting around the age of 5, where this first wall or guard came down. And then over the years, it just came down maybe once or twice a year. Maybe you had a couple of years where it didn't come down at all, and then maybe it did. So it just depended on what you went through. But I feel like the main thing to talk about here with this is the suppression that it's brought up in regards to the suppression of you being yourself, not just your words, but your presence. And this feels actually quite deeply wounding or wounded in some way, because it feels like it really stirs up a vulnerability. That truth or that belief that even your presence is not worthy of being in this space, or wherever you happen to be, or being with this person, or whatever the situation may be. And that feels really heavy. So what do I want to do? Okay, so first of all, I feel a motherly energy coming in from the front. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a connection here between mother-child relationship, so between you and your mother, you and your children, that may stretch through those generations. Mother-child, mother-daughter, or so mother-child, mother-child, child-mother, child-mother. That there might be a connection here, because I feel that this maternal energy, this mother figure, actually coming through in a really soft, caring, maternal way. She comes through, she doesn't question, she doesn't look at what you're wearing, she doesn't care about any of that. This force, this figure, she just steps into you. And as she steps into you, it's just like this motherly love, absolutely unconditional. No conditions at all. This is your mother energy, and she sees you for who you are, and she loves you for who you are, and she steps forward into you without thinking or second guessing anything. No conditions at all. I feel like there's been a lot of conditions somehow between this mother-child relationship energy, between maybe you and your mother. It could even be between your mother and your grandmother as well. Or you and your children, or a child that you have. But these conditions that are placed on. So because of your role in this too, just be careful, Andrea, that you're not putting conditions on these people, on your mother figures, on your child figures as well, because it feels like it might go through the bloodline here. So make sure that you don't place conditions on these relationships too. So this energy coming in, absolutely unconditional, completely. And she moves forward, this motherly figure. She moves forward in you. She feels very loving and caring and just in awe of who you are. And she steps right into your skin and right into your body. And she pushes through from the inside to the back, pushing all of these boards off you. So they're like karate layer boards I'm seeing now, as they've stopped coming down because we've established what's going on there. They are now just like layers of board, like you're about to do a karate chop or something and break these boards. So she's moving in from the inside, from your body, and she's basically pushing out like a karate chop, pushing all these boards out off your back, off your shoulders down to your lower back, and pushing them away. They break away and drop down like shards of wood, shards of wooden pieces down to the earth behind you, where they return back to love. And this represents big burden that's been released from your past, I feel here, Andrea, as well. And the mother figure now just turns around in your body and she settles into you. This maternal energy of who your relationships coming to you on that maternal level, and the relationships that you're offering on a maternal level, especially to like your children and your child figures. So I trust this makes sense for you, Andrea. Let's see which card we need to add here. So the best card to add, we're going to leave this motherly energy here. It feels like she actually is a part of you, and maybe a part of your own maternal energy that you have separated from in the past. She is you. She's that mother figure, but she is the mother figure the essence of mother that you are. And adding here to this time is this, card 62, synchronistic order. It's in the rest category. And down here it says constructed, built. Okay, that's interesting, because in this other card it said rebuild. Things are building, basically. Things are regenerating. Things are growing again in this card. But this card's basically saying that things are constructed now. We've got constructed, built, structure, hard work, a durable and stable building, order, hindsight, looking back, stability and support, things lining up, and the signs. So this is showing actually what we've broken down during this connection today has helped create a new structure within you. And you might find yourself a little bit more orderly or ordered within yourself based on what's been shifted and what has come in and what maybe has been revealed. So thanks so much, Andrea. I trust this supports you, and thank you so much for your support. Namaste. Okay, we've got 2 more people. Let's see who's next. Next on the list. And if you just joined in, I apologise for this very long screen. Hopefully I am in shot because YouTube wouldn't let me have it the other way. So next is Courtney Smith. Courtney, welcome, and take a nice big breath, please. Oh, it's been a while since I've connected with you, Courtney. It's lovely to connect with you again. So let's see. Okay, so the first thing I'm picking up is a heavy energy coming in at the base of the skull. And it feels like a force that's trying to push you. Oh, hi, Anne. Thanks for stopping by today. It feels like a force that's trying to push you, to force you forward somehow. And it feels heavy. It's almost like something's trying to force you forward, but you're trying to push against it because the force is strong, and it feels like it's coming through the eyes and the third eye chakra as well. But we'll talk more about that in a second. Oh, yes, I love this card. Card 98, called Dragon's Breath. It's in the rest category too. And down here it says, the power of your breath. Speak up, let it out, see it through. Don't underestimate yourself. Breathe out and release. Avoid bottling up, and courage. Now this almost feels like this force that I'm feeling here at the back of your skull here, Courtney. At the base of your skull. Now the base of your skull, this is the back of your third eye chakra. So it could also be stirring up or bringing to attention trust issues from the past. But it feels like a force that's pushing. And the push is coming from the back of the skull, the base of the skull, but it's coming through the head and coming out through the third eye as well. So the eyes and the third eye are also highlighted here with this strong push forward. And so this feels very much like your path pushing forward. It could also be a mental energy that's pushing you forward too. Could be a force that's testing your trust issues, that's also pushing you forward. But there's a weird feeling that, like when you have a hill when you're a kid and you run down the hill and you're kind of running with it and you run so fast your legs can hardly even carry you, and hopefully you can stay upright, and it's quite fun because you feel the gravity and the force that's pulling you forward. You're running with it. I don't feel that with this. If you were running with this, I would feel like you flying forward. It doesn't feel like a fly. It feels almost like there's a force trying to push you forward and your own force that's trying to push you back. Like instead of running down the hill with the movement of the hill and the gravity, instead of running with it and seeing, getting that speed up, that momentum, it's trying to sort of hold back so that you don't go too fast. So there is a holding back feeling here, or a sense of your own internal force that is trying to stop this movement that wants to move forward so strongly. So you might feel in some ways that you're trying to swim upstream, that you're trying to go against the current, that things aren't really flowing maybe too well in some aspects of your life because There's a part of you that's resisting this. So let's see, I'm going to connect with the energy, with the force that's pushing you to see, is this a force that you can trust? Oh, and that feels big, doesn't it? Is this a force that you can trust? Especially if there's trust issues from the past that have been stirred up. Can you trust this force to take you wherever it is that you're going on this healing journey? It feels like this healing journey forward. Now, as I connect, it feels like it's coming also tying in now from your heart here at the front. So I feel the force coming in here at the back, and now it's almost like a fluid energy that's coming from the back, but it's now scooping up some of your heart as it pulls you forward, like a current, like a force, like a wind, like gravity. It's trying to pull you forward. So it's pulling from your heart. I can trust in the pull from your heart. And I feel like you're being maybe tested with old trust issues to really see if you can trust your heart now in some ways. Because I feel like in some instances in the past, maybe you've been tested whether you can really trust your heart or not. Maybe it feels like or seems like your heart has led you astray. Has it really? I'm not really sure, but that's how it kind of feels. So I feel that you can trust this force. It's a bit like this dragon energy that's wanting to help move you forward, to see this through, to not underestimate yourself, and to move with this force that you can trust. So instead of opposing it, you're being encouraged to move with it. It's a bit like what I mentioned in not this week, but last week's weekly guidance about getting on the same team as yourself. And it does feel a lot like this for you, Courtney, because it feels like in some ways a part of you is trying to oppose this direction that you're going. So you've been encouraged to trust in the direction of your heart, trust where you're going, trust where you're being led at this time. And as you do that, I feel something frees up, like it feels less of a struggle, less of a difficulty in moving forward, because like when we run down that hill, run down that slope, like we're running with it, and the momentum and the speed we can generate can literally take us off our feet if we're not careful. But that feeling is quite incredible, and that's what I feel. Something's already freed up here and pushed away that has been opposing this movement. And I feel like I can't help but feel it comes back to that trusting in the direction that you're going. And especially in the new things that you've got kind of going on, or that you've got brewing, or you've got in the pipeline. It feels like, a witch at her cauldron and she's brewing a new pot of something on the cauldron. And that's what it feels like. All the ingredients have been coming together over quite a period of time to create this whatever it is that you're creating here in this cauldron, in this big pot and this big mix that you're mixing up. So you can trust in this movement. You can trust in all the things that have led you to here and where you're going, because it feels like where you're going is really important. Okay, so let's grab a card, see what that wants to add here for you, Courtney. It feels already to me like something's really freed up, like the force is now not got barriers like it did before. Like if the river wanted to run but there was a dam there, the dam wall has broken, that sort of feeling. So the best card to add here at this point for you, Courtney, is this card 46, spiritual surgery. This is also in the rest category, so we've shifted from rise to rest. And this is interesting. It says deep healing. Energetic healing for your body, blockages and pain. Relax and allow healing to take place. Self-healing and support your body. So this is definitely highlighting and confirming that you're on a healing journey at this time, and you're being guided to move with this healing journey. So it could be developing your healing modality, your healing skills, but also a part of it is your own healing as well. Your own healing, your own release, and your own growth that the healing can bring. So spiritual surgery, thanks so much, Courtney. Thank you. I trust this resonates, and thanks for your support. Namaste. Okay, that means lucky last for today, for this month, is KantiDevi Wedad. Welcome. Let's see what comes up for you today. Okay, so nice big breath. And the best healing energy card to start this connection off is, it's this. That's funny because that card literally just kind of unfolded itself as I was shuffling. This card did. Card 104, Conquering Fear. It's in the action category. And down here it says, don't allow your insecurities to stop you from proceeding. Look at them, release, and then proceed. Summon your courage and overcome your fear. Okay, that's interesting. Don't allow your insecurities to stop you from proceeding. And the cat is here again, just staring at me from below. I find it interesting the different times when the cat comes in and she's drawn in here. So Kanti, let's just tune in and see what's happening here in your body. Okay, so I'm being drawn to your heart and I'm seeing this big eye on your heart. And the eye is partly closed. I feel like it's partly open, we could say. So it depends if we're looking at the glass half full or half empty, I suppose. But it's half open or half closed. And I feel that there are some things around you that you're closing yourself off to, that you're not allowing yourself to see from your heart. And it might likely be something that's quite close to your heart, which is quite funny. The things that are close to our heart, we tend to kind of avoid or ignore or not allow ourselves to fully see the truth of, because they are things close to our heart. You know, it's like it might be a person we admire or a person that we love very deeply. It can be difficult to see what other people might see as their flaws because we've got them held, I guess, close in our heart and we're seeing them the way we want to see them. So there is this sense here that you're being encouraged, Candy, to open up your heart fully and to allow yourself to see the truth in the things that you've been, I want to say, like blinded to, or allowing yourself to be blinded to. And there is a connection here potentially with insecurities or an insecurity, a particular insecurity that you carry. So what I feel the next step is to open up this eye here at your heart to help you be able to see the truth of what's going on around you or in these relationships, or, I mean, it feels like to see what's happening externally in your life. It could also mean connecting with how you really feel about something or someone. But it feels more likely to be connecting with how things are playing out in your life and seeing the bigger picture, seeing things for how they really are. So prying open this eye now, and it opens quite easily. I feel like there's a strong part of you that's very willing to see the truth from your heart. So opening up this eye so it's right open like matchsticks, you know, very open eye here so that you can see from your heart. Now flowing up from this very open eye now that you're very open and willing to see is sort of like this channel of energy. It's in a bit of a hourglass shape. It comes up from the outside corners of the eye and up through your body, so through your throat and up here to your third eye chakra where it opens out a bit, so a bit like a hourglass sort of shape, and it comes out to the ends or the corners of another eye that's sitting here on your third eye chakra. This eye has a very purpley, quite bright blue specks iris in here. And it feels open and it feels fairly narrow, like there's not a lot of white here that I'm seeing. It's very much just eyeball or the iris part. So quite short, quite narrow, actually quite narrow, quite wide really in proportion to an eye. And this feels very open here. Now, what's the point of this is what I'm asking. So this is showing that your intuition is very strong, which we already know. Okay, so come on, need some more information here. Okay, so we're setting something up, it feels. So we're setting up, now this is now like, so it showed itself as an eye, but it also feels now like it's a light that has turned on. So a light, like on a light globe, a light, and we're setting up because we're turning on two other lights that are outside of you. One's on the right, one's on the left, and it looks like these lights are on a lamp post. And they feel external, almost like street lights. And they're lighting the way on your path. And they're lighting the way in regards to two directions that you can potentially take. Even though you're walking the one path, it feels like you have option A, option B. And this part is lit with a light globe here, and this path is also lit with a light globe. They are equally equal at this point. And what is going to be really important as you progress forward on your path and as these options reveal is to make sure that you're really open in your hearts. So there might be a tendency to kind of want to close that partially for whatever reason. Keep it open. Keep your third eye open, your intuition really open and awake and aware, because that's going to help tune you into which is the best path to take. So things are lining up now in your body that are lining you up with where you're going, especially in regards to these two paths, these two options. They're equally important. Are they equally important, actually? Because this light now is looking more white and this light is looking more yellow. So actually there are subtle differences that are being revealed now. And in fact, as I notice these differences, more differences are coming up. This feels like white light and it feels like the middle of the day. This feels like a golden light, but it feels like the middle of the night. This path feels darker. This path feels lighter. So actually, as you tune in and keep your heart open, your intuition open, you're going to start seeing the differences that will help you make the decision that needs to be made. And I wouldn't totally dismiss. In fact, I'd probably go towards the darker path. I like the yellow light. It feels courageous. Feels like it's going to summon some courage and be full of mystery and adventure through here. It feels more enticing to me. And this path feels light and bright and very exposed in some ways. So that's probably a little bit more of a known path. And that's also fine to go down, but there is something intriguing about the dark path. So as you tune further in, you're going to notice the differences that are going to help you make your decision, Kanti. That's the feeling here. And because you've got the Conquering Fear card, I'd also be maybe leaning towards this side. That's just what I'm feeling. But let's see which card here wants to be added. And I think and feel probably what's really important for you, Kanti, is to just make sure you keep your heart really nice and open. And the best card to add here is this card here. Oh, Healing Hands. Okay, so this represents the two paths. This represents the two paths that I'm talking about. This option, that option. Healing Hands, card 22. It's also in action, the action category. And I feel like these are really representing the two options. So again, like I mentioned before with one of the connections, I think Courtney, it feels like the journey that you're on is a very healing one. It says hands, creativity, expression, building, making, caring, nurturing, receiving, emitting, extension, intentions, bring something into form. So I feel like whichever path you choose, there's going to be an option or an opportunity for you to bring something into form, like through creating, through healing, maybe through both. And it feels like you building something like a sand castle or a sculpture or something out of sand or out of mud, and you're building up this big tower or this big temple. Temple's a better word, that you're building something here. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of what you can do with your hands and what you can do with your heart and what you can do with your intuition. Because I see you really molding and sculpting something up, this sacred temple that's going to be really important, monumental moment for you in your life, where you look back in, say, 20 years' time and go, that was a really important moment for me. So I feel this is really important. You probably feel fear because this is what your card is, conquering fear. And the bigger resistance and fear you have to something that is taking you out of your comfort zone, usually the more important that can be in the bigger scheme and bigger picture of your life. So thanks, Kanti. I trust this resonates and supports you. Thanks so much for your support. So thank you, everybody, for connecting today. I've really enjoyed these connections, and I trust you have too. I look forward to connecting with you again next month if you want to be a part of this personal healing event for patrons. And if you would like to be a part of it next month and you haven't been next month, if you haven't been this month, then you can learn more about it on my Patreon website or the page, which you can find in the link of this video. So thanks so much. I will be back to share with you again soon. So on Sunday, I think, actually. So take care and have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.